In the rapidly evolving world of financial technology and cryptocurrency, the regulation of digital assets has become a crucial concern for governments and financial institutions worldwide. One of the most significant regulatory initiatives in recent years is the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) Travel Rule. In today's video, we'll discuss what is FATF and what is the Crypto Travel Rule, why it is important, and what are the main objectives for imposing this rule. At the same time, we'll highlight the challenges that VASPs are facing regarding privacy and how we resolve these issues. So stay tuned till end. What is the Financial Action Task Force, FATF? The FATF is an intergovernmental organization established in 1989 to kick off money laundering, terrorist financing, and other threats to the integrity of the international financial system. The FATF develops and promotes policies to protect the global financial system from criminal activities and encourages its members to implement these policies effectively. The FATF consists of 39 member countries and 2 regional organizations, and it works closely with other international organizations to combat financial crime. In 2019, the Financial Action Task Force, an intergovernmental body that initiates anti-money laundering (AML) policies for G7 and an additional 30 or so developed countries, recommended a coordinated approach to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. The rule, formerly known as FATF Recommendation Number 16, it applies to financial institutions engaged in virtual asset transfers and crypto companies, collectively known as VASPs. The travel rule mandates that VASPs obtain and disclose precise details pertaining to the sender and recipient of a virtual asset transfer to counterpart VASPs or financial institutions, either during the transaction or prior to it. Why is the crypto travel rule important, or what are main objectives for this rule? As mentioned earlier, the core purpose of issuing this regulation is to block terrorist financing and money laundering. Other reasons the travel rule is important. We should also remember why the rule is here in the first place: to prevent terrorists and criminals from having unfettered access to the financial system. To do this, the travel rule has 2 objectives. 1. To make every reasonable effort to prevent funds from being sent to a sanctioned entity. It is primarily the responsibility of the sending VASP to manage this, through screening the name of the beneficiary against appropriate sanctions lists, although the receiving VASP should also screen the originator to close the loop as a means of best practice. 2. To have originator and beneficiary information readily available to law enforcement officers upon appropriate request. Such requests can sometimes be time-sensitive. Moreover, there should be no reliance on another party to produce that information. That is, both the sending and receiving VASPs should hold this information independently. Next, we'll elaborate the challenges and opportunities VASPs face when implementing the FATF's crypto travel rule. 1. The Sunrise issue loss of business. CoinMarketCap reports that 500+ cryptocurrency exchanges worldwide collectively trade trillions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency daily. If a custodian starts to require travel rule data alongside transactions, will these exchanges be able to do business with crypto businesses that don't currently have compliance solutions? This inconsistency in compliance results in jurisdictions sitting at various stages of implementation. 2. Murky regulatory guidelines. There is a lack of understanding regarding applying FATF's travel rule, mainly due to clouded regulatory instruction. Specific regulatory bodies, such as the Monetary Authority of Singapore, have presented locally registered VASPs with outlined crypto-related AML requirements and precise enforcement dates. In contrast, FATF reports that many jurisdictions still require major or moderate improvements on R15, with improvements particularly needed on assessing MLTF risks and the application of AML-CTF preventative measures. 3. Unknown compliance costs. In most cases, implementing the travel rule requires VASPs to change funding, withdrawal, and transfer functionality that is fundamental to their businesses. Compliance will require back-end changes and modification of customer-facing UX screens and APIs. Also, because of the new KYC requirements for crypto-to-crypto exchanges, many VASPs will have to implement the rule from scratch, adding friction and cost to their business operations. How to move forward with consequences of travel rule. The first thing you should have at the back of your mind is that you may need to forego part of your privacy to continue to interact with the crypto market. You will also have to know at least the names of your beneficiaries and those sending you payments. And since there are still challenges associated with the travel rule, there is no saying how the inefficiencies of any of the compliance systems would affect your user experience. At the early phase of this regulatory revolution, you may be unable to execute transactions depending on the compliance status of your VASP and that of your counterparty. Now, here's the solution to challenges that you face after imposing travel rule. The solution is actually very simple. Bear in mind, at first glance, regulators want something that will not appear to be too technically challenging, particularly where the regulator is still coming up to speed with technology. What we present below is our concept of a solution. It is just 3 steps. We add here that I have no vested commercial interest in the outcome. Simply, we want to see the industry and regulators be able to reach a consensus on a solution that will stop illicit funds being funneled through virtual asset service providers. I believe this offers simplicity, adheres to the guiding principles including no change to local regulation, follows C and Jones's input, and minimizes data privacy impact. Step 1. Find the VASPs. The first step of the process is to build a consistent and accurate list of VASPs. Conceptually, creation of a global not-for-profit membership body, potentially based out of Switzerland or Belgium, would offer a platform around which this information could be collated. This body could be restricted in scope to begin with to oversight of the VASP payment transfer mechanism. With the body in place and VASPs onboarding as members, the VASPs could then register on a domestic basis in each country they have customers. On doing so, they would receive a unique identifier similar to a SWIFT code. The databases could be overseen by the membership body. As regulators legislate for the FATF recommendations, the regulators could enhance the data with confirmation of registration or license. The local databases would then be published to a global list of VASPs or GLOV. Where local licensing regimes are in place, it may be that only licensed VASPs are published, adding an additional layer of compliance or risk mitigation against VASPs with poor controls. Again, the GLOV would be maintained by the membership body. Step 2. Gather the data. The second step of the process would be to gather the beneficiary data. There is not much to gather here. The beneficiary's VASP code from the prior step and the beneficiary's name as listed with the VASP will suffice. The VASP code, if country specific, will additionally aid compliance with cross-border compliance risk mitigation, where the VASP code can be cross-referenced against the GLOV to ensure that details are remitted to the correct VASP, and the jurisdiction of the customer is then known. Of course, in the absence of a VASP code, then the originator could certify the transfer is going to a non-custodial wallet, and step 3 below would then not apply. Importantly, this step could be completed before the transmission infrastructure is built, allowing firms to prepare for implementation of the full travel rule requirements sooner. Step 3. Remit the data. In the final stage, the sending VASP screens and then shares the required data with the beneficiary VASP over a secure API, programmatic interface requiring no human intervention. This will be peer-to-peer with no centralized clearinghouse, and the notification will be separate from the underlying asset being transferred. The beneficiary VASP will then screen the required data and can also check for a name match or near name match in real time. If there are mismatches, that is name or wallet address, the API can provide immediate feedback to the sending VASP. This may allow the sending VASP to reject the transaction, or perhaps, if data suggests, to raise a suspicious activity request, for example if there were a significant number of such failures. Meanwhile, if the beneficiary VASP received an inbound transaction with no cover instruction from an originator VASP, it could take one of 2 actions depending on the risk of the client. Either assign as an inbound transaction from a non-custodial wallet or make inquiries to the beneficiary on the source of funds. For repeated inbound transfers with no cover instruction from a sending VASP, a beneficiary VASP may decide to make further inquiries on the nature of the beneficiary's business and on the use of their account should the VASP believe it to be suspicious. That's all about today's video. We hope this video is helpful to you. If you like this video, thumbs up and share it with your family and friends. Take care until next time with another new topic. Stay happy, stay iconic. Goodbye till next time.